Welcome back to another review, this time for the anime Your Forma. This one had 13 episodes and was airing in spring of 2025. Synopsis on any list. In 1992, a pandemic of viral encephalitis, shook the world. The medical technology that saved humanity evolved into Your Forma, an invasive information device implanted into the brain. In this world, where every sight, sound, and even emotion is recorded, investigating major crimes means diving into the collective data, a job reserved for special detectives called electronic investigator. Ashika Hieda, a prodigious electronic investigator assigned at an astonishingly young age, stands isolated by her exceptional talent. Her newly assigned partner is Harold, a blonde, blue-eyed humanoid amicus. Together, this unrivaled duo will expose every hidden secret. Now, we do have on the picture Ashika, which is a human and electronic investigator, and Harold, which is an amicus. Amicus are like robots, androids, along those lines. They are not really human, they are robots, they have AI. And we are in this more or less sci-fi kind of world. Now, I like the world itself. I like the idea of Your Forma. Now, this one is, information device implanted into your brain. You do not have to do this. Most people do, but there are some that decided against it. Now, this one is very interesting because it gives you like this AR, augmented reality type of vision, without having like some glasses or a device like we have in our world at the moment. You just have it while looking into the world. You can like pop up pictures, documents, you can pop up messages, a lot of different stuff. Now, they did show us what it could entail, so we did get a scene at the very beginning in like a mall where we get like 15 pop-ups of like ads, buy one get one free, 20% off, 30% off, 50% off. So it has some benefits, and yeah, you do have ads, which would suck, especially in today's ad-driven world, where you probably couldn't even open a picture without getting an ad. Now, additionally, we also have like some interesting aspects. So we do see later on when she wakes up that, vitals are checked as well. You get like a little information. Hey, you didn't sleep well, a little bit sleep deprived. Hey, it's 4 degrees outside. Maybe you should dress warmly. And I can see a lot of beneficial parts of having this installed. Naturally, there are some negatives, like everything is recorded and people like her can just dive into your brain and get all the information they want, which is a pretty big risk, in my opinion. But that is a part. I do like that aspect of the show. It is really interesting. A lot you could do with that. We don't get too much outside of the diving into the brain. And even the diving into the brain, we don't get to see much. It's mostly like we get some images that we can interpret, and then after the dive is over, which doesn't take long in most cases, Ashika is going to give us a rundown of the important stuff. So the dive is not that well explored in the show. Apart from that, the characters, Ashika is just there. She doesn't really get to do much or to develop much. She's a character that is there, and from beginning to end, there's not much going on with her. Most of the story is about Harold, the amicus. Now, yes, I saw some critique of like, Ashika doesn't really develop, Harriet does. I feel like because in this show, we have, these are more or less detectives. You have Ashika, the human, who can dive. You have Harriet, who is supporting her at diving, and who is then a robot who can be very smart and can put things together. He's like the, smart part of the team. However, he is governed by the robot laws, essentially. They're a little bit different, like in all shows. But he has like, rules. He can't hurt humans. He has to respect humans. Along those lines are the laws in this show. So he can't really, if they find the culprit, he can't really do anything. She has to, apprehend them. So that is why those two are together working as a unit. And the show is like, we get a case. They then have to, they have to do their detective work, and essentially sometimes, not all the times, they have to dive into a brain, get that information, and then bam, we get to solve the case. Now I'm going to talk about the cases specifically later on, because that is, it's most of the story. So after the rating, gonna go into those a little bit more. And my grievances with some of the, world. So outside of that, we have the cases. The cases, I would say, are working, they are mostly centered around Harriet in some capacity. I feel like that is fine. You could argue, hey, we would like to get some more of Ashika, like developing her with some cases, maybe dive into her past. I feel like you could do that. However, the cases we got are just enough to develop Harriet, and we get a lot of developing of Harriet, see his past, see his present, why he's doing, why he's here working, why he is the partner of Ashika specifically. So we get a lot of that, and you could have gone like half cases revolving around Harriet and the other half around Ashika, but you wouldn't have been able to, have like a conclusion in some way to any of them. So I feel like this works fine. I can see why people would like Ashika to have more development, because she did not get as much, if at all. Outside of that, animation was fine. The cases, fine-ish. This is a problem. Most of it is hinging on the cases that are being developed, and I do have my grievances with those. Outside of that, I felt this was a fine show. I didn't really have too much outside my grievances. I cannot talk at the moment to really deduct anything. I like the world. I like the idea of the Forma, your Forma. I like the idea. Again, I do have my grievances with some of the development. Now, people gave it on AniList 59%, on my anime list 6.26. Now this, I would say, I feel like people are just too harsh on the show. That is a very low rating. Now, as an example, we had the Alchemist show like last season. This one, which has a 6.6. And I would say this is worse in like nearly every case, in every aspect, than your Forma. But, 6.26, for me, the rating is not really important part. For me, the important part is the rating related to other ratings. Now, 6.26 would be fine if, as example, Alchemist would be like a 5.9 or so. However, the Alchemist show is rated above, which doesn't make any sense in my opinion. However, let's see, I would say, because of my grievances, I would give it a 7 out of 10. I do like the world. the Harriet is a the characters are fine. This show managed to just push me out of the show, and I was unable to really let go of, like, my realistic view, which, if you go into a show, you have to depart from reality a little bit, because there are no superheroes in reality. So if you want to look at a superhero show, you have to be okay with, hey, it's not realistic, so you can let a little bit fly. But if too many of these instances are adding up, you are probably going to not be able to accept this anymore. And this is what happened for me here. Pretty unclear what I wanted to say, I guess. I just was unable to let go of, this is just a fantasy at some point. Now, this is one of those shows. So most of the shows around Harriet. Now, Harriet is an amicus. However, Harriet is a special amicus. He's one of 3 special versions that are working on a different brain architecture. Their AI, or their model of thinking, is more or less modeled on a human brain, on like neurons and stuff. So they are able to develop and evolve in other AI cannot do that normally. So this means that one of the big things are these 3 laws of the AI. Now we get to know, or we get the information is that the implementation is that the AI or robots have to abide by these 3 laws. However, you are not required to install what was said in the subtitles, the 3 laws. You don't have to put these 3 laws into your robot. You just have to make sure they abide by these laws. Meaning that in cases like Harold, who is like a robot, if he develops into a situation where he would see himself as a human, he would not need to abide by these laws anymore. He could be outside, because the law is a robot cannot harm a human. If he doesn't see himself as a robot, he doesn't have to abide by that. Similar to, like, there was an example. A robot is not allowed to attack a human, I believe is the wording of the law. Meaning, what if the robot doesn't know what it entails to attack a human? If he doesn't know what it entails, he can inadvertently, go against the law, because he doesn't see it as breaking the law. So you do have some cases where you can go around the 3 laws. And we do see in the show that, people get attacked by robots. And this leads us to find out Harriet is a special type of robot, that he is more or less, he doesn't need to abide by these 3 laws. We get to see that later. And he can also attack humans. Now, I do not have a problem with that. Again, I do find if you have these 3 laws, we had that in iRobot. 3 laws are not enough to really make it airtight that robots are not going to attack humans or are going to be detrimental to humanity. We saw this, or this is always one of the big sticking points in these robot shows, and most of the time is part of the story, as it is here. Now, I do not have a big problem with that. That the characters, Ashika, she's a normal character. She just doesn't get a lot of development. Okay. Our AI Harriet, he gets some development. However, I find his development a little bit nah, because most of his development is like solved in like the 30 or in the half episode. So this is spoiler. We are now in spoiler territory. So at the end to Harriet's development, he wants to kill this guy that killed his former partner. Now, why he wants to kill him, Ashiko is there, and she's talk no jutsu him out of killing or torturing this culprit, which, sure, it would be fine, but I would have liked Harriet to be more on the edge of, not torturing him. But it felt like he was very on point. He was like, hey, this is my goal. This was what I lived for. I need to take responsibility and get rid of him. And she just talked him out of it, which felt a little bit meh in my opinion. I would have liked it just more if he was not really sure. Does he want to torture him? Does he not want to torture him? Does he want to do the right thing? Does he want to go, across the line? It didn't feel like he was at that edge. It felt like he was very much, hey, I'm gonna do this, and she talked him out of it. It was a little bit too forced in my opinion. Now, that is fine, would be fine. For me, biggest problems is just, in the show, everyone has this your Forma, or everyone that is important. We are part of this, organizations, this police force, or adjacent to the police force. So we are a big organization. We have rules. We have stuff you do need to do, protocol you need to follow. Now, in the middle of the show, there was a case where we were in, I guess, our main building, and we needed to find a bomb. There was a bomb threat. We needed to find the bomb. Now, our main character, Ashiko, she deduced, hey, she got delivered information, and she deduced, hey, it would make the most sense to have the bomb in the electrical room. Now, she then decides, hey, with Harold, we go into the electrical room. Why is she not telling anyone? Why is she not like, hey, boss, I feel like they want to blow up the electrical room to go and get into the archive room. Just a heads up. So, the rules, what their goal is potentially, so you can act. She doesn't tell anyone. Harry doesn't tell anyone either, but he's a robot. So they go down, they do find out, hey, the bomb is definitely here, and get blown up. Which is like, why didn't you tell anyone? It doesn't make sense. We find out later, you can just text people. You can just be like, hey Harold, I'm gonna be late. Bam, message sent. And as far as I remember, you can just call people as well. You can even have not voice calls, video calls. You can do so much while you go and walk. In today's, you have to pull out your device, you have to look at your device, you are losing a peripheral vision of what is going around. I can understand not being able to do that then. However, in this world, everything is integrated. This is like second nature to you. You should be able to exchange information. And this is one of the big parts. It feels so stupid because later on, we get into the situation where, we see people not exchanging information. Now, Harriet's partner that died or got killed, they were part of investigating a big case. Now, why they investigated this case, his partner, for some reason, he went to a graveyard. Now, he then disappeared. Okay. So, the first thing, why did he not, inform anyone, be like, hey, I have a clue for the case and it is in this graveyard. We should check it out. For some reason, he doesn't. Also, I assume, similar to in today's world, police should always go in pairs because, if something happens to one guy, the second one can always call for backup or help. He did not do that. He disappeared. Harriet follows his footsteps, goes into the graveyard. A lot of people know, the whole police force knows, hey, he went into the graveyard, another car came out, we don't know where he is. So they go to the guy of the other car, it's a dead end, doesn't matter. Harriet goes to the graveyard, he finds, hey, here's an old path that is not in view of cameras. That is strange. He follows the path that goes then to an abandoned building, no cameras, and then he goes down in the abandoned building, he finds his partner, and then he gets ambushed. At no time, while doing all that, was he like, hey, yo, guys, I found this abandoned path, let's go and check it out, maybe he's here, maybe we find him. Hey, guys, there's an abandoned building. That is very strange. Maybe we should check it out. I believe there was also a car. At no time. So, turns out, he's there. The culprit kills his buddy, his partner. And that is when Harriet was like, hey, my goal is to find the murderer and, more or less kill him, torture him. That is, we find out his goal. Later on, we are back on this big case. We have the same situation again, where people are just, going to places without fucking telling anyone. It's like, we have this case, they split up, which already, why are they not together? Just to make the story work, I guess. And she gets a call from someone she believes is a friend, and that is telling her, hey, I have a new clue, come to this position or this place, I want to show it to you. And our girl is like, okay, I'm gonna tell Harold. And the other voice is like, hey, I already called him, he told me to get you so we can get this clue, blah blah blah. She gets lured away. That is fine. So she then drives to that location. While driving there, she is messaging him, hey, yo, I'm gonna be late. She doesn't message him, I'm gonna be late because I'm meeting with the information you told me to, or hey, I'm going to this spot to get information, that is why I'm going to be late, which she can do because it's just a thought. She can just think about what she wants to tell him, send him a message. It would not even take 10 seconds. She doesn't do that. She gets kidnapped. 8 hours later, they're like, oh yeah, last message I got from her is I'm gonna be late. And she disappeared. So I don't know why he didn't check this before or why it took so long. They then get to this position where she got kidnapped. There was an altercation, it seems like. Seemingly, she drew 3 letters with her blood that the culprit seemingly ignored for some reason, which gave them a clue what was that people got lured by false voices, which is like, really? All of that? The culprit was like, yo, you do you. So they then go and they find the culprit. They, or Harriet found the culprit. Police came later. The culprit tried to flee with his white van, and Harriet is driving behind him. Understandable, he wants to kill him because this is the guy that killed his partner. Fine. So police comes, first aid, no problem. There are 2 people that got kidnapped, more or less. And, we then had like the police, and the police was like, hey, we are gonna follow Harriet to try and apprehend this guy. Now all the police leaves, everyone but one police officer. Now this police officer then takes up the potential murder weapon with his bare hands, where I was like, what? This is not what you should do as police officer. And this was like, okay, the other guy is not the murderer. This guy is definitely the murderer. Now, for some reason, he's alone with those two that got kidnapped. Now, Achiko, she did not get any information because she didn't see it maybe. And she was like, hey, I want to follow Harriet. And the police officer's like, yo, okay, come into my car. And this is, again, I assume police officers should be always in pairs. He should have a partner that is also there, which he does not for some reason. They drive off. He's like, hey, I have an idea where the guy is going to be. Let's go there. And she's like, okay. So Harriet catches up to the culprit. He was close to just killing him. They then, police comes in, is apprehending him. They talk, and Harriet gets the brain flash. Hey, the other guy is the murderer, and is trying to, catch up with him. Now, in the meantime, she did not message Harriet or anyone. Harriet did not message her, being like, hey, we apprehended him, I'm coming back. Or she's being like, hey, I'm on the way with XYZ, Mr. Murderer, which she did not know, but hey, I'm on the way. No messages are going to be exchanged at all. Now she comes as they drive to this abandoned building, and he's like, hey, yeah, this is this abandoned building where the partner from Harriet got killed. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure this culprit is going to come here. Now she, at this point, is not messaging anyone still. She's just like, yup, sounds fine. There's no car around here, no police car, no van, no one. It's an abandoned building out in the middle of nowhere. Presumably this guy, for some reason, knows that the culprit is going to come here. And I'm not like, hey, yo, we just arrived at where he's going to, come to this abandoned building XYZ. It's like, in this world where you can just exchange information in like seconds, why is no one doing that? It would be fine if this was not a professional organization, but I would have assumed by, at this point, this organization would be like, hey, if you are not with someone else, with your partner, just be in contact at all times with your partner. Just be like, hey, I'm gonna check this one out. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna do this. To have like a trail we can follow instead of being like, yo. Because it doesn't take much time. It takes seconds. Real seconds. And you don't even have to stop. You can go, walk, and still inform people. Now she got then kidnapped. Harriet comes in. Harriet is, cleaning up. He's injuring the murderer. He's close to killing him. And she then talks him out of it. They have like this whole conversation why the murderer is in the same room. I believe he's unconscious, but still very weird. Now we apprehend the murderer, or we are outside, we are getting cleaned up, we try to apprehend the murderer. For some reason, I do not know, he was able to take the gun of one of the police officers and try to kill himself. He shot himself in the head or wherever. I don't know how this happens always. It's such a stupid thing. We don't even see it. We just hear a bang. He seemingly took a gun while being handcuffed or whatever you do with a seemingly unconscious person. And this was already, a long time, because a lot of police came up. I believe they already had like barricades set up. So they definitely should have had him in handcuffs by this point, but he was able to take the gun and shoot himself. Now then we get to the part, hey, he's not dead, we can brain dive into him. We don't really get a lot of information. We only know that he and his assistant, they were always together doing this. He was always doing this stuff, and his assistant was just at the, in the same room. And we see that there was some reason for the divorce or so, and that made him do all this stuff, some kind of reason. We find out, hey, he's definitely the killer. He is the one that killed all the people. The other guy was always there. And we find out he is not the one that killed the partner. Which is like, okay, the whole case is useless. It's for nothing. The whole story is for nothing, because this is not the one that we wanted to catch. This leads naturally Harry to, hey, let's stay partners. You can stop me from killing the dude when I catch him. We find out the dude presumably is the same dude that made the AIs, which is a part of the big story in the middle of the show. And they have a similar name, so this is a big bad we want to catch. It's like, okay, I guess. I mean, there was a little bit of an interesting tidbit, which in hindsight is pretty nice, that where we saw the partner getting killed, which was with a chainsaw. We saw the assistant when he wanted to, intimidate or potentially kill Ashiko. He had like a round handsaw, I believe like a wood saw or something, and he had a different type of instrument. And our main murderer, he had a different, again, type of instrument. So there were 3 different instruments, which, in hindsight would show you, okay, they are not the same murderer. Now the problem is that the murderer and the guy that killed the partner, they work the same way. They put on classical music and then they torture the person. Only the difference is really the weapon, and that the guy that killed the partner bound him on a chair, and that was the difference. Only difference apart from that. And this is like, and they are not connected for some reason. It made the whole case seem pretty pointless in the way of like, trying to finish Harry's story. I mean, we got some Harry development. He didn't kill the guy who... it felt a little bit flat because it's not really part of the big story. And I did not like the development of Harry being so quick on his stance. I mean, it's not like he is 100% not going to kill him, but in this instance he got talked out of it, and I would have liked him a little bit on the edge to really, make it seem possible. Again, I thought it was fine enough. It just pushed me out of this hey, abandoned realism, because it's too close to realistic to really, just ignore all the little bits, and they just got stacked on top of each other too much for me to be like, I like the word. And I feel like this could be a good story. I do know this is a light novel adaptation, and I believe the light novel is well liked. Yeah, but I feel like, especially with the last case not really leading to the closure of Harriet, it's like, okay.